let's get back to work. Well, apparently forecasting the apocalypse runs in the family. Although your daddy never had such dazzling visual aids. Victor, if you think things are exciting, stick around, they're about to get very interesting. Oh, I intend to stick around. See, my good friend, the president, yeah, he heard we had some trouble on the moon. He thought it might be a good idea for me to come down here and help fix it. Make sure we don't go off half-cocked, as they say. I think now would be a good time to run that interference, Garth. No, no, no. Garth, don't bother. Look, I don't want to get in anybody's way here. But like you said, we do only get the one shot. I just want to make sure it's right. Well, that makes two of us. I will be with you shortly. Okay. Thanks for the heads up, Garth. Victor Stevens? He's here to help. Yeah, help himself. Mr. Redding. Sorry for all the mystery. I'm Garth Pender. This is Dr. Lana Gale. Thank you so much for coming. You guys didn't give me much choice. Yeah. We're sorry about that. We're experiencing a crisis. I noticed. I'm not sure you know what caused the mess you were cleaning up in Baltimore. A meteorite. Right. The first of many. Our moon has suffered a great impact and we believe the damage runs deep to the lunar core. Please, I'd like you to follow us. We've prepared a mock-up here as a visual aid. That's fine, thank you. Wow, that's some crack. Immense pressure continues to pull this section open wider. Eventually this entire quarter will break away and find its way into Earth's gravitational pull. And then what? When that hits us, we go the way of the dinosaurs. You guys are serious. You should know what you're up against, if you're gonna help us stop it. I'm just a demolitions expert. On Earth. I don't know anything about the moon. Nobody knows more about how things collapse in on themselves than you. Now we need your expertise to see if we can make the walls of the crevasse cave in. Just lock this entire section in place. Stop the breakup. Wait a second. You guys want to put charges on the moon. Seriously, with all due respect, I really just think I'm way out of my league. Nothing like this has happened in the history of man. This is way out of everybody's league. We're not asking you to go to the moon. We're just asking you to be part of our team. At this point, the Atlantic is one huge staging area for a massive hurricane activity. In fact, there are several Category 5 storms in different places, all at the same time. This is something that's never happened in all the time that man has kept track of weather. Call it an act of God. Call it an eco-nightmare. One thing is for sure. This is a weather disaster the likes of which no one has seen in the modern era. Tell me what you got. Fresh intel from ASL on an incoming asteroid. Big. Latest estimate gives it an 8 on the T-scale. We got birds in the air, patrolling a 30-mile grid. 10 minutes awaiting orders. What kind of payload are we talking about? Sidewinders. Sir. Well, let's get 'em climbing. Delta 1, Delta 2, scramble factor 6. At 2902. Trajectory uplink in 5. Roger control. We're on our way. We're at 15,000 tracking inbound. We have initiated afterburner climb for intercept. Got visual. Arming. All right, gentlemen, let's make this happen. Cloud cover. Lost visual. I've got visual. Missiles away. He took the shot. Target is destroyed. He got it. That was too close. We got lucky. What else is on its way? We're tracking inbounds, but nothing rating on the T-scale. Atmospheric burn-ins. Keep on this, Lieutenant. I want jets in the air and I want constant updates from ASL. The tricky part is to calculate what we call reaction mass. It's how we decide how big a blast it's gonna be, and where we're gonna place it. Can we determine that from this information? Well, I'm sure that we can ballpark it. But I can tell you right now, this blast is gonna have to be massive. Definitely nuclear. And the variables will keep changing with the fault growing all the time. Nuclear blasts. Well, looks like I got here right on time. John Redding, this is Victor Stevens, Chief Advisor to the White House. Welcome aboard, Mr. Redding. Thank you. Pleasure to meet a man with such an illustrious family tradition of blowin' things up. Although, before you go putting the moon on your resume, I think you should both know that I have informed the President of what happened on Miranda. We don't know happened on Miranda. That's sheer speculation. What's Miranda? Miranda is one of Uranus' 1-5 moons. A research flyby in '86 revealed that she'd been struck by a massive impact, cracked her surface wide open. But, over time she put herself back together. There's absolutely no conclusive evidence to support that. Besides, our moon has a solid iron core, which was shattered just as my father predicted. Nothing will stabilize the moon unless we do that ourselves. The moon's structure is much less rigid. It's perfectly capable of displacing the energy from a massive impact. Until I see something that makes me feel otherwise, that is all we're going to do. There is a fracture running clear through the moon. And you just want to do nothing. We do nothing. The moon will do something miraculous. The moon does not have an iron core. Its gravity will stabilize it. Your father was wrong. Look, this isn't personal. We are going to rely on the prevailing wisdom, which is the best we've got. 500 years ago, prevailing wisdom said that the earth was flat. Just because it's popular does not make it right. Look at that. The president probably wants to hear how we're reappropriating his nuclear arsenal. I think I'll tell him we need 3 bombs. The Nina, the Pinta, and that other one, whatever its name was. Santa Maria. Bingo. Is this a bad time? No, it isn't. Guys, please, I'd like to introduce you to our mission crew for the shuttle Perseus. Major Rachel Fine. Captain Ben Halberstam. Pleasure. You're a demolition expert? That's me. Why don't we go down to the conference room and I can brief you? Good idea. Hey, Garth? Mission crew? What happened to leaving things alone? I mean, what if the moon could fix itself and Victor's right? Well, what if Lana is right and we're unprepared? Now he may have the president's ear, but this is still my agency, and it is still within my authority to call for full contingency readiness. And I am. Thanks, ma'am. They just upgraded the Storm. Oh good. Can't wait. They just shut down the 95. The equipment is not getting here anytime soon. How are we gonna take this thing down without our pneumatic drills? Forget Elle said anything. You wanna shut this down? We are not shutting down. We are gonna do exactly what John told us to do. I hope they had a good reason for pulling him outta here. What would ASL want with John? And why now? Radar has detected a cluster of meteors coming in. We should alert the Mexican government of possible strikes. Hope you don't mind. I was flipping through that book you have on your desk. Your dad wrote that. Yes. And Elle don't mind. He would have wanted somebody to read it. And he predicted all of this? Pretty much. Don't you think he should be here too, helping us? My dad passed away a few years ago. Before he died, he wrote a thesis based on lunar anomalies. Anomalies? You know? I don't think I got to that page. But he was right. Right? In the scientific community, the debate between fact and truth can get brutal. Victor came out against my dad's theories. Managed to destroy his credibility. I had just finished school at the time. I was trying to get my foot in the door at ASL. And I made the mistake of distancing myself from the controversy. I left my dad hanging, so as to not tarnish my reputation. He passed away shortly after that. I'm sure he'd be quite proud of the work you're doing now. Listen, if there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. You could fly up to the Rima Fault and bring me back some mineral samples. That would help me out. Yeah. Well, no problem. Lana. Victor's called an emergency meeting to discuss the Mexico impact. The 3 meteors that struck Mexico City were massive in size. Hey, we're tracking additional lunar debris. This probably won't be the last time we get hit. Evening hundreds of blocks of the city. May I have everybody's attention, please? Mexico City and the surrounding areas are gone. Repercussions from the latest impact are being felt. All the way to Oklahoma. The moon's condition is getting progressively worse. Apparently, it is not fixing itself. So the White House has given us a full go for a shuttle mission. Garth? With the Rima Fault continuing to grow, and the weather systems getting progressively worse, we have to launch within 48 hours. So let's talk specifics. John? How are we coming with those reaction points? Well, my initial calculations show we've got 4 potential blast points. The problem is those keep changing all the time because the fault is growing. And I've got another question about our blast targets. What about them? I'm just trying to figure out exactly what kind of magnetic force are we dealing with when it comes to the moon. Minimal. The magnetic forces disappeared billions of years ago. Right. So what if we were able to bring it back? Instead of thinking about blasting, what if we looked at this as more of a welding job? I hate to disappoint you, but the moon is not made of steel girders. That still seems to be a point of contention around here, Vic. You say the moon doesn't have an iron core. But Lana thinks there's enough to give us some pull. We really just don't know exactly what the moon is made of. So what I'm wondering is, if we could create a magnetic charge and put it in the right spot to one side of the Rima Fault, well then maybe we can get this thing to fall in on itself. Do you realize the conductor you'd need on that scale? It's impossible. Omeg. Theoretically, it would have enough conduction. We have our solution. There's no evidence the moon has an iron core. We are not going back to the drawing boards. You need to pin down the coordinates for the nuclear blast points. What's AMEG? Mass Electromagnetic Generator. It's a device that carries a very large electromagnetic pulse wave as part of the blast wave. Sounds like my kinda metal. What if we could get one big enough? How do we make this work? Who's your best engineer? A meg charge? Are you on drugs? It can't be done. The materials are way too fragile, way too unstable. When combined, which makes them way too dangerous to be handled on Earth, let alone in space. Then I guess it's a good thing that the president's boy's not here. Albert, I can think of a million reasons why it won't work. I need your help with one that will. If I was to come up with a concept, the only way to keep this whole thing from detonating on launch is to keep the activators separate until you're in place. So it is possible. Did I mention that the 2 main ingredients in a MEG charge are liquid helium and uranium? Do you have any idea what happens when you mishandle those 2 guys? Can it be done? And another thing, you are not gonna pass this off on some ASL pilot. This is heavy ordnance. Get this to someone who knows what they're doing. Who's that gonna be? You. 'Cause it ain't gonna be me. Albert, we need a straight answer. Can it be done? I'll come up with something. But what I'm most concerned about is you launching my shuttle in this storm. She just wasn't made for that. Damn. Yeah. Hey. It's me. You guys okay? John. Can you hear me? Yes. What's your status? They've elevated the winds to gale force. We can't get any of our gear in here. Besides, these buildings are not looking too stable. Where the heck are you? Wishin', I was still there with you guys. Believe me. The weather service says this lightning's gonna get a lot worse. Conditions are not gonna get any better for blasting. Should we shut it down? Yeah. I want you guys to get out of there. Evacuate everybody out of the area and shut it down. I need you to do one more thing before you go. What's that? I need you to find a piece of that meteor and bring it to ASI. Okay. Brinna, did you get it? Yeah. Good, let's get the hell out of here. It's coming down. Let's go 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 go. Yeah. Come on guys. Pick it up. John? John, listen, we have two of our best shuttle pilots. But, on this one, we need a mission specialist. That specialist is you, John. You want me to go on the shuttle. I don't have any training to go to the moon. Okay. We need you up there. We only get one chance, I understand that. We can't force you to go. You'll have first-hand visual. We'd feel more comfortable if it was you up there, pulling the trigger. All nuclear reactions have a magnetic charge. It's that entirely destructive element of the nuke we're trying to avoid here. So, by using the electromagnetic pulse of the nukes to boost the magnetic charge of our MEG, we can create a force powerful enough to recharge the magnetic field of the Rima fault. In theory. For how long? Long enough for the moon's own gravity to take over. I'm just giving it a jump start, in theory. I heard that you were going to accompany the MEG on board the shuttle. Well, with the situation being what it is, yeah, I'm in. Now listen, Albert, this MEG charge, it's got a MEG what? What's going on here? We're just exploring options. Ah, exploring options. Well, we don't need any options. The nukes are on their way. And when they get here, I don't want so much as a spit polish to go on them without my authorization. Is that clear? Yes. Good. Some big seismic numbers coming in. How big? That's a 40% jump from the last one. Will, what's our status? Launch site weather is getting much worse.